You know, for the longest time, cybersecurity was basically a game of building walls. You'd build your digital fortress, you'd post your guards, and you just hope for the best. Well, today the rules have been completely torn up and rewritten. Artificial intelligence has handed attackers a brand new playbook, and it's making them faster, smarter, and just more relentless than anything we've ever seen. So in this explainer, we're going to break down how you can architect for resilience in this totally new world.
Okay, let's just pause on this for a second, because this one sentence really gets to the heart of the problem. Everything we've been relying on for years, it's just not keeping up. This isn't about building a slightly better wall anymore. We have to face the fact that the attackers can now basically teleport right past it.
So here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we've got to understand this new AI threat and really get what's at stake. Then we'll dig into the three big pillars of a modern defense: the right mindset, the right tools, and crucially, the right culture. And to wrap it all up, we'll chart the path forward.
So what is it that makes these AI-powered attacks so different? It's not just that they're new or fancy, it's that they are fundamentally more dynamic. They're more adaptive than pretty much anything we've ever had to defend against before.
See, AI isn't just one kind of threat. You have to think of it as a force multiplier for the bad guys. It helps them across the board. We're talking about malware that literally changes its own code so it can't be found. We're talking about phishing emails that are so well written and so personalized, they genuinely look like they came from your CEO. And, maybe scariest of all, AI is automating the hunt for new weaknesses and then exploiting them at machine speed. It's a whole new ballgame.
And let's be really clear here. This is not just some technical issue for the IT department to handle. No way. This is a core business problem, and honestly, the consequences of getting this wrong are huge.
When these attacks hit, the damage really falls into three main buckets. First, you've got the obvious one: direct financial losses. That's theft, recovery costs, regulatory fines, you name it. Second, you've got crippling operational disruptions that can bring your entire business to a screeching halt. But that third one, reputation damage, that might be the most dangerous of all. Because once you lose your customers' trust, it is incredibly hard to ever get it back.
So the takeaway here is pretty simple. You can't fight a brand new enemy with old, outdated strategies. It just doesn't work. Your entire approach to security needs a serious upgrade, and that all starts with how you think about defense. Let's see what that actually looks like.
You know, attackers don't have to be some kind of evil genius if we basically leave the front door wide open for them. And they usually get in by exploiting these really common weak points. We're talking about a workforce that isn't trained to spot a fish, security tools that are a decade out of date, data that's not properly protected, and a system architecture that frankly never had security baked in from day one.
Okay, so where do you start? It all begins with a really clear-eyed, totally honest look at where you stand right now. This four-step process is your bedrock. First, you have to know what you're even trying to protect. Second, understand the actual risks to those assets. Then, take a hard look at your current defenses and ask, are these things even working? And finally, you build a prioritized plan to start plugging the holes.
Now, underneath this entire modern mindset is one single powerful idea: zero trust. The old model was kind of trust but verify. The new model is never trust, always verify. It means you work from the assumption that your perimeter, your wall, has already been breached. So every user, every laptop, every application has to prove who it is every single time it asks for anything, no exceptions.
All right, so once you've got the right mindset, it's time to upgrade your arsenal. To have any chance against a smart, automated enemy, you need an even smarter, more automated defense. You absolutely have to fight AI with AI. This slide really nails the strategic shift. Traditional security was all reactive. It focused on the perimeter, it relied on slow, manual human responses, and it was built to catch threats we already knew about. AI-driven security, on the other hand, is proactive. It assumes you've already been breached, it automates the response, and it uses data to predict threats we haven't even seen in the wild yet.
So what does this look like in the real world? Well, we use AI to do things at a scale that humans just can't. Take AI-powered SIEMs. That's just a fancy term for security information and event management systems. They can sift through billions of data points in near real time to spot a tiny anomaly that might signal an attack. We use machine learning to predict what attackers might do next. And we use behavioral analytics to learn what normal looks like for every user, so we can instantly spot when an account starts acting weird.
And this proactive approach has to extend to how we build things. Security can't be this afterthought that you try to bolt on right before you go live. That's like trying to add a foundation after the house is built. It just doesn't work. It has to be woven into every single step, from the very first design meeting all the way to daily operations. That's how you build systems that are secure by design, not just by accident.
But here's the absolute truth. All the best technology in the world doesn't mean a thing if your people aren't on board. The most advanced firewall ever built can be completely bypassed by one person clicking on one bad link. And that's why your strongest, most critical defense is always going to be a security-aware culture.
Building this culture isn't about scaring people into compliance. It's about empowering them. It means training that's actually engaging and continuous, not just a boring PowerPoint once a year. It's about creating a no-blame environment, and this is huge, where someone can raise their hand and say, "Hey, I think I clicked something I shouldn't have," without being afraid they'll be fired. That's how you learn. It's about making every last employee feel like they're a crucial part of the security team, because they are.
Right, so effective training is never, ever a one-and-done event. It has to be regular. It has to be ongoing. It's got to be hands-on, using things like real-world simulations. And it needs to be specific. What an accountant needs to know is totally different from what a software developer needs to know. It has to be a continuous journey of learning.
Okay, let's pull all these threads together. We've hit on the mindset, the technology, and the culture. So now, let's look at what it really means to be truly resilient when you're facing down this kind of threat.
Look, the threat doesn't work a 9-to-5 schedule, so your defense can't either. It's really that simple. True resilience demands constant vigilance. 24/7 monitoring and proactively hunting for threats are not optional anymore. They are absolutely non-negotiable.
Being resilient means being dynamic. It's about being in a constant state of improvement. You're always looking for weaknesses, you're always adapting your strategy as the threats evolve, and you're recognizing that you cannot do this alone. Collaborating with others, sharing what you're seeing, that makes everyone stronger. In this fight, no organization is an island.
And if there is just one thing you take away from all of this, let it be this. There's no finish line here. You're never done with security. The goal is not to build some mythical, impenetrable fortress, because that's impossible. The real goal is to build a state of constant readiness, to become an organization that can take a punch, respond effectively, and ultimately endure. So I'll leave you with that question. Take a good, hard look at your own strategy. Are you still just building walls and hoping they're high enough? Or are you architecting a living, breathing system that's designed to adapt, to respond, and to endure whatever comes next? Because that right there is the difference between simple defense and true resilience.